I'm Tamara, and this is TELUS Talks with Tamara Taggart. We're bringing together experts, thinkers, and leaders, busting myths, sharing stories, and staying connected when Canadians need it the most. We're having unexpected conversations for unprecedented times. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking to Hilda Fallenstrom from Norway and Sunniva Sorbe from Canada. And these two women they're living in the high Arctic in Norway. And I can't thank you enough. I mean, thank goodness for technology that I can see you and talk to you so clearly. And you are somewhere I can't even imagine being. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Absolutely. So you are right. We are very literally in the middle of nowhere. For the last 10 months, we've been based in a 20 square meter trapper's cabin that was built for beluga hunting. And we started a project a few years ago called Hearts in the Ice. Between the two of us, we're dating ourselves now, but we have about 50 years of experience in the polar regions. And we've seen way too much change to not care and do something about it. So when we met, which was 4 years ago now,
Four.
4 years ago, we asked ourselves, we're a little over 50. What can we do to stay relevant in this climate change conversation? So we started Hearts in the Ice. We've been based there. It's sort of a remote citizen science outpost. That's what we're calling it. It's no running water, no electricity, no insulation. And we're doing this. It's a global platform for dialogue around climate change. So it's a social movement. We're trying to create social impact. We're trying to engage people in a positive, inspiring way around the changes our natural world is experiencing. And honestly, what in the world can we all do about it?
Hilda, if somebody's trying to imagine right now, they're listening, where you are on the map, Can you explain where you are on the world map?
Absolutely. If you can imagine Norway on the top of Europe, and then you go even further north, it's an island in between of the north part of Norway and the North Pole. So that's an island called Spitsbergen. It's a part of an archipelago called Svalbard. And we are in a small settlement called Longyearbyen. That's why we can be online with you like this. But our trapper's cabin is 140 kilometers out in the wilderness, total wilderness from here. So we're just here now for a week to get Sunniva some more coffee, talk to you guys, and have some meetings and interviews, and make sure that we bring back some vegetables and fruit. We are absolutely in the total wilderness. We have no neighbors except polar bears, reindeers, polar foxes. And this hut that Sunniva mentioned was built 90 years ago and extremely small. And as she mentioned already, no insulation. So it has been quite a cold winter and in quite a harsh environment. So we have been tested this winter.
So you've been up there since August of 2019, right?
Correct. I have been. I left Squamish, hopped on Air Canada flight out of Vancouver a year ago. And Hilda lives in this town that we're in currently to resupply. And we'll go back to Bumsaboo, the name of our hut, on Monday until September. We were supposed to get picked up in May, and we had to cancel that trip in the same way that many people across Canada and everywhere else have had to cancel and recalibrate and readjust. We did too.
So tell me about a typical day for the two of you.
Oh yeah, well it's very practical, and it's very manually work. I wake up maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, and I start our wood burning stove to make sure that the temperature are above zero. We have had a very cold winter, so we very often woke up till minus degrees inside the hut. And then it takes at least 3 hours to get sort of living temperature inside. And then we read and we write from our comfort hour beds. I sort of live in the kitchen, and Sunniva live in the living room. It's
which is the dining room, which is the office, which is our workout studio, which is our spa.
It's really tiny.
And as Hilda mentioned, every day, actually, no day is the same. But what is the same are the things she mentioned, the practical things. We have to, our food, we don't have a fridge. So we have to rotate the food so it doesn't get frozen and it doesn't go out of date. We have to make sure that the very small space we have is everything we need is accessible on a dime. If there's a polar bear outside, or if we need to go outside for something urgently. Ice, there's no running water there. So we've collected a bunch of ice, and also some water that we did bring in initially froze. So we go out there with an axe to chop the ice and bring that in a bucket, bring it inside, and then melt it for, drinking water, for cooking, for cleaning, for everything. So it's just it's a beautiful, simple existence in a way that our ancestors used to live.
Yeah, I have so many questions, Hilda. So I want to know. Okay, do you guys have do you have families that are living somewhere else?
Yeah.
And how do they feel about the two of you doing this? Like, how is that?
Well, luckily we have been supported all the time. This has been a dream for me for so many years since I came to Svalbard.
And the overwintering.
The overwintering part. And then I met Sunniva, and I have had total support in my family, my kids and my husband and my total and friends. And so did you.
Yeah, I think that the people that know me, especially my Canadian friends across Canada, my father was a captain on an oil tanker, and he was gone my entire upbringing. And I wondered, where did he go? He always went to sea. And when I first started going to sea, I understood the pull. And so I've traveled for a living. And so my family, I have a sister. I'm not married. I don't have any kids, but I have lots of nieces and nephews that I covet. But I don't think they were very surprised. Nobody really believed that I was going for 9 months. They just couldn't quite, and neither could I. I couldn't quite compute that.
Have you felt unsafe?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me?
Sure.
Some stories? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, it is all the elements, like the polar bears outside the door, outside our windows, and the small little hut at all time. Could possibly be every day, every night. And also it's the weather. So we have been vulnerable. The weather, the snow after a storm blocked our door, so the entrance door, so it was impossible for us to come out. We have had the hurricane ripped off our door.
And you can't fix it. There's no way you can even stand outside to hold anything.
You have to wait.
We're just, we can't call Home Depot if we need spare parts. We can't call somebody to help us with anything. And so it's like she said, we're really vulnerable. I was very scared many times. One time was when I went outside in the polar night, which lasts for 3 months, where it's total darkness. We have no light pollution, no noise pollution. It is as quiet can be. And the long polar night, 3 months of complete darkness. On one time, I went outside with our water waste to dump it down by the shore, and the snow was deep, and we Canadians know what it's like to move around in deep snow with lots of clothing. And I tripped and I sunk into the snow, and I only have a headlamp on. And I was horrified in that moment because my vision was limited. I was physically not able to get up and do anything in a split second. And I just had this wave of fear come over me around the fact that a polar bear could be right there or right there or right there, and I would not even know. And what that feels like. You feel very vulnerable. We don't go outside without a rifle and a flare gun, but regardless, you could be very easily paralyzed by an experience.
And we usually were together all the time outside, especially during the dark season.
Wow. So how long, the dark season is 3 months, and then when you're not in the dark season, how long is it light for?
It's sort of
Good question.
yeah, it's a good question. I would say that October is the sort of the twilight zone where you have all this all this blue and all these colors of the Arctic, which is absolutely incredible. And also from mid-February, you have the same sort of change, which is where all the magic are. But it's also, I would say, that the dark season with complete darkness also have a lot of magic with the northern light, the sky with absolutely, it's completely full of stars, and again, no light pollution. So, but I think my favorite time of the seasons are when it changed, when you have limited daylight, and when you have this. It's impossible to describe the colors in the Arctic when things are when we are losing the light and when the light comes back.
Wow.
I'm thinking of when Hilda's talking about the aurora, I'm thinking of something that one of the women we're collecting data for at NASA. We're doing 2 science projects for them. One is cloud observation, and it's an app that anybody can download on their phone called NASA Globe Observer. And as well, they have something called Aurorasaurus. And Liz McDonald said that you two at Bumsaboo are closer to the bottom edge of the aurora than you are to the town of Longyearbyen.
Wow.
I mean, we were not going north to look for the northern lights. We were under them. Very powerful.
Wow. Can we talk about polar bears for a bit?
Sure.
So, I mean, an article just came out the other day that said that, the majority of polar bears are on course to vanish by the end of the century. It's probably fair to say that most of us have never seen a polar bear. I've only seen a polar bear at the zoo in Vancouver when there was a zoo many years ago. Is it hard to want to protect something that you've never seen before for the average person?
I would think so.
I would think so.
But I think everyone knows what a polar bear is and where they live, and that they are living out of snow and ice. And when the snow and ice is starting to melt and starting to disappear, especially the sea ice, which is very critical for the polar bear, I think that's easy to sort of grasp. But we have had so many polar bears encounters, and this winter we had a lot of sea ice, and we had a very cold winter. It hasn't been that for a very long time, so this was just probably a little cold bust coming in there. But we saw polar bears that tried to adapt to a warmer climate. We met a polar bear that just killed the reindeer and was running from its prey when we came in the middle of the darkness, didn't know what was in front of us, and all of a sudden we had a polar bear running away and a reindeer just killed by a polar bear. So we were quick leaving the area.
Your question is interesting, and the changes that Hilda's talking about with the polar bears is all about adaptation to a changing climate and ice. The people that I know in my world that really protect things and that give money to different organizations protecting things, it's because they've had a transformational experience with that thing. And so travel becomes really important. And now we're living in a world where that's sort of come to a real screeching halt. But there's so many different ways to experience things without physically experiencing them, if you know what I mean. And that's one of the goals of Hearts in the Ice, is to be there for 10 months as observers, as keen observers. And people can actually be observers in their backyard. You don't need to go far away to be curious about something and then learn to love it and then protect it. So we're trying to encourage the story building around our experience and then share it out so that becomes sort of, you protect what you love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I love that. I love that because it is through stories, right? And obviously, the two of you have hundreds of stories to tell. So I mean, this is all about education, isn't it?
It
Absolutely.
is.
This is all about education. So, who
Engagement.
are you trying to reach? Who do you want to reach?
Wow, we were asked that question just the other day.
Yeah. This
And
morning.
it was this morning.
Yeah, this
We have
morning.
yes. Okay, I thought it was the other day. You know what? There's something that happens to all of us when we're isolated. We met somebody the other day that, and is a word for it, that with the lack of stimulation, your memory is more short term. Short term, and so at the end of the day, we do need to sit down with our books and say, "What did we do today?"
Yeah. Called episodic memory.
Yeah. So forgive me for that little blip there.
It's okay. You know what? We're all kind of living a version of what you're going through with our own isolation because of the pandemic, right? So you guys are living it in a very, you've been ahead of the game here when it comes to
We thought we
isolation.
were doing self isolation and being the only ones doing that, and then now
Mhm.
everyone knows what that
Whole
word
world.
is. So it's
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, tell me about the education piece.
that is a very big heartbeat of Hearts in the Ice. We partnered early on with somebody based in Toronto, Joe Grabowski, with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. And he hosts online classrooms. So we thought, and I have to tell you, we just shot high with our what we both wanted to do, and then just worked really hard to make it happen, and it did. Hundreds of emails and phone calls later. But Joe agreed to host Hearts in the Ice every month for the time we were at Bumsaboo. We could not do what we're doing with you right now. No video. We're operating off of Iridium Certus. And so we phoned in with a satellite every month with an expert on the call with classrooms from around the world. Topics like climate change, polar bears, weather, food, the ocean. And the goal was to, really breed curiosity. Kids have that naturally,
Mm.
but the more that we're connected with tools and technology, and distracted by it and not using it for what it should be used for, which is education and leveraging communication and interaction and that sort of community in that way. They're distracted. So we're Joe's whole platform is to keep the kids curious and bring inspiring speakers on board and share stories from explorers like us who are in the field doing something that the kids might be really super interested in. So 5,000 kids we reached in the last 9 months, and we're going to do even more
Yes.
with you, with TELUS,
And in addition to that, we had YouTube. So we had adult followers too during our classrooms. And it was a learning in it for all of us. I learned so much during these talks. In regards to the polar bears, we had a polar bear expert on the call, one of the classrooms we had, and answering your question a little bit earlier, what's regards to the polar bears, and they are really threatened now. The problem with the polar bears are that they are able to adapt if they have time enough to adapt, and that's what's happening now. The changes are coming so fast, and they are the changes are so big, so they don't have time to adapt. So we had a polar bear mom that we saw and could record back to the Norwegian Polar Institute that she had got a cub in April.
Cutest little
10,
package.
10 15 kilos, and so full of energy and so full of life, and looked really healthy and well. And but we had to tell them now on my birthday, actually, she came by our hut again, and she was by herself. So the cub was dead. So it's really scary about the polar bears. For the sea ice is really disappearing fast and faster than it is possible for the polar bear to adapt to eat reindeers or other preyers on land.
Many of these warming processes happening around the world they're already locked in. It's already happening, and we can't reverse it. It's just that is the sad, depressing fact about climate change and the species disruption and ecosystems upside down. But we're living at a time right now where we need the kids. We need the adults. We need everybody. Our audience is everybody, every individual out there.
In order to reduce the
absolutely
impacts.
Because what the only thing we can do right now, if we're not a scientist and can actually make a direct relationship to this is what needs to happen to reverse change in the environment. We are all citizens of the world with a huge responsibility here. And what we can do is understand the data, understand the science, just like you were sharing about the fact the polar bears being diminished as a species soon. That's a fact. And so to understand those, then maybe you become engaged in Polar Bears International or something like that. So these are very real.
Very real. And what I'm hearing from you is that, this is an opportunity. What the two of you are doing, this is an opportunity for all of us that are parents or have nieces and nephews or little brothers and sisters, whatever it might be, for all of us to sort of engage, whether it's follow you on Instagram or whether it's, sign up for your classrooms and see what you're doing because how lucky are we that I can see you both right now? And, and I'm sitting in my basement in Vancouver and you are on the other side of the world. And so you can share your experiences where, if this was happening not even that long ago, not very many people would have known what you were doing.
No, and you're looking at two women who saw a polar bear a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know this whole project started with us, but it's not about us at all. It's I think we're two, very accomplished, smart, lit up women. I mean, we have a lot of fun with life. We've traveled. We're good friends. We both care about some of the same things, and we just it's sort of payback time, if you know what I mean. It's how do we stay relevant in the world today? I don't want my career to define me. I don't want a job title to define me. I want what I do in the world to define me.
And
sorry, Hilda, go ahead.
No, sorry. We can all make a contribution, and it's not one size fits all. This is all of us needs to do anything we can do. I mean, small things or big things. We really need to lean in and be a part of this engagements that we need in order to reduce them.
I mean, personally for me, I have 3 kids, a son and 2 daughters. I want my daughters to see 2 women doing what you're doing. That in itself is incredibly inspiring to young women and young girls to see 2 women do. I mean, what you are doing is absolutely incredible. It's so special and so it's actually hard for me to wrap my head around. Tell me what isolation has been like for the 2 of you. I mean, have you had disagreements and arguments? I mean, I'm just curious because as people we're different.
Ask away.
Yeah. Like, have you found yourselves where you're mad at each other or, how did you get to this trust where you could go and do this with each other? Like, how did you know you were the right fit to do this together?
We'll just sort of randomly. Is it okay? It's really excellent. So many people are stuck at home with people they maybe wish they could go to the office that day or find the door. But I just, we have been living for 7,000 hours together. And for those 3 months that we talked about when it's dark, we don't do anything without each other. Not even, dare I even admit this, I can't even go to the bathroom without her standing by with, on watch. And so it's definitely tested us to the very core of who we are as women. I thought I knew myself in this period of isolation, but I came to know other parts of me. Different parts of us emerge when we're in a space of silence and solitude. I think it allows for deep self-reflection, a deep a deeper connectedness to your creativity, a deeper desire and willingness not to waste time or anything because it feels so precious, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got mad at each other. We had arguments. We cried lots together. I mean, I'm more of a crier, and I don't know what happened. It just started a few years ago, where it's sort of like it boils over and it comes out, and then I'm good, you know.
Oh, I know.
It's a great coping mechanism. Um, but we have also been very blessed to have a couple of women in our court that have offered some tools and skills for us on how to communicate. Because I think it's fair to say when we're upset, we both go quiet. And when you're in a
Interesting.
20 square meter space, you feel it. You feel the energy in the room, and we can't afford to have bad energy in the room.
No, and yes, we have had arguments and we have cried, but we have also, mostly, we have come to the conclusion that there are small things I mean, there hasn't been one thing that we haven't been able to solve. And I think one of the coping mechanism that has been extremely important for us, or I know so, is the routine, and also everything we do. I mean, chopping wood every day is a physical thing, and we do that together outside. And we do train, even in the darkest season when we had storms and hurricanes outside. We were inside training with our rubber bands. We have a pull-up bar. We have gymnastic rings.
A slack line.
Yeah, we have two. Exactly enough space on the floor when we remove the table in the living room to fit two pair of
yoga mats with Undersun fitness bands. And it has been very challenging to live in that small space together, but we have smoothed out all our edges.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So that
yes, I do.
And it's just we talk it out, we cry it out, we let the train pass. Sometimes when you are arguing with somebody, you jump on the train that they're on, and we sometimes like let the train pass. You say that to yourself as a little mantra, and take that moment to put a little space between your thoughts, and that is very helpful for us. Also, having a little time to maybe not talk about something and then do something physical, and then coming back together and then talking it out.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the coldest it gets up there, or the coldest you've experienced?
34 minus Celsius degrees. But in addition, very often we had a lot of wind. So it was not uncommon to have 25 minus and heavy winds.
Hurricane winds.
And then you have an uninsulated hut built 90 years ago, which is not windproof or anything. It was really cold.
I don't know if you can, when you have a minute, take a look on our website. There's a little video on there, and it shows the cabin. And there are logs that are about this big around, that are at an angle, so that the polar bear can't kind of squeeze its way through to have access to the walls of the cabin. We have shutters, wooden shutters that are about this thick, that we close every night on the windows, and there are nail spikes this long on the outside of those wooden shutters to protect the hut from the polar bears. This is not your average cabin.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It's not an Airbnb, is it, where somebody can go and stay for a few nights? It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
So how do we as we're inspired by you and your stories and what you're doing and teaching all of us, how can we be good citizen scientists ourselves? What can we do?
There are hundreds of different programs you can join. I mean, if you're into birds, or if you're into weather, or into a type of fish, or whatever you are interested in, a flower, or I'm sure you will find a citizen science program that will fit your hobby or your interest. So just engage and be involved in something in your maybe in your own backyard.
I would tell anybody to ask themselves the question: what do you want to learn or observe? What are you curious about? And then get curious about it, and then understand it, learn it, and then try to protect it. And it could be that very thing in your backyard. I think, and I love that quote by Einstein. I have no hidden talents. I'm merely passionately curious. And I think, at the end of the day, all of us are architects of our own life. And it's our biggest challenge in the world is to actually design our life. And we're living in a world now where if someone is without purpose, our purpose is actually to not take anymore. It's finding a way to give, whether it's giving to each other, giving to, the giving is so many things. It's love, it's resources, it's time. So I would really want to encourage. SciStarter is a website that people can also go to for a lot of citizen science projects. So, and follow our website, heartsintheice.com. We're writing a blog every week. We'll be there until September and maybe longer.
Maybe.
I have to ask why you're both wearing matching necklaces.
Yeah, please.
Can you see them?
I can see them.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm curious. What are they? What did they signify?
Yeah, this is I would say it's a friend of mine. She is an artist, Norwegian artist, and she makes those necklaces for us. It's glass, and it's actually a heart inside the ice.
I see it now. Yes.
So, and this is sort of a proof of being a part of our community. Sort of it's
all recycled glass, and they're all individual, and it's our
handmade in Norway.
We're starting a movement, a Hearts in the Ice movement.
I love it. I love it. When it comes to climate change and where we're at right now, this snapshot of the world, and I have to ask: do you feel hopeful as we move forward?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, we have no other choice. And I think if everyone, we have seen during COVID that we are able to make changes, big changes in our lives. So I think, yeah, definitely, we're hopeful. There are a lot of changes that will happen, but there are quite a few that we are able to stop or at least reduce. So, I mean, if we all engage, every single one of us, if we think of maybe no waste as a mantra, like no waste of food, eat everything, don't waste food, don't waste water, don't waste energy, don't waste time. It's now. We need to change now.
You're living that and you're showing that.
Thank you.
In a very extreme way, but you are showing that.
In a very extreme way. Your question made me just think of a book I read a long time ago by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And he talks about all of the things. He was a Holocaust survivor. And he talks about all of the things that can be taken away from us. And the only thing we have when we're left with nothing is how we respond to something. And so, and it's a choice. That is our choice. And so we choose to be eternally optimistic around climate change and what's happening. Because like Hilda said, we have no option. There's almost no alternative either. So that is our choice. We're always going to show up with a glass half full, giving everything we've got. It's our promise.
Good. I'm glad. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Although sometimes it sounds like you have a lot of time. But I know you're in town right now, right?
We're in town.
So you're in town, and when you're in town, is there anything special you will do that you can't, like, is there something that you do that you miss, or what's that one thing?
For me, I have to admit, it was going and getting a nice cappuccino.
Love it.
And we had our second shower in 10 months.
No.
Second shower in 10 months.
For all those water wasters out there, you do not need to shower so much.
And you don't need to wash your clothing that much either. No, it's actually, it's true. We swim in the ocean when we feel for
Whoa.
it. It's extremely cold, and we do sponge bath, which and keep clean and healthy. And
well, there was a time when there were no showers and people took sponge baths, right?
Absolutely.
Wow. You're so inspiring. And I know I said this to you before we started recording this podcast, but when I looked at your Instagram feed and I saw all your photos, and just, you both have extreme joy on your faces in those photos. And I can tell that you are, I just feel like you're living your truth when I look at your photo. I don't know you. This is the first time we've spoken. But it was just something in both of your eyes. There's one photo in particular on your Instagram that I don't think I've ever seen two faces with so much like truth and joy on them. And that's how I feel about the two of you in this very short time.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
I am truly inspired by you. And my daughters will definitely be following along with what you're doing, and so will I, and my son, because what you are doing is a gift to all of us. It really, truly is. So thank you so much for being so inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I have to say that Hilda and I we are living in integrity and alignment with what we say and what we're doing. But we are full of support from so many women around the world, especially, and we call them our heartbeats. And were it not for that community, and this is so powerful about communication and creating community and coming together, is we feed off each other in the best way like that. And that's really what we're trying to create around something that is otherwise very paralyzing and kind of depressing as a topic.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait for everybody else to discover both of you, because everybody should know what you guys are doing. It's wonderful. So again, thank you so much for speaking to me today.
Pleasure.
And yes, well, my pleasure. And I just want to remind everybody that Sunniva and Hilda are Hearts in the Ice, and you can go to their website, which is heartsintheice.com. And you can also follow their adventures on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Again, it's Hearts in the Ice. You will know when you get there on Instagram because you will see their beautiful smiling faces. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast at TELUS Talks with Tamara Taggart, and on our YouTube channel at TELUS Talks, and join us every Tuesday for a new episode. Thank you so much.
You are fantastic.